You've worked your whole life to enjoy retirement, but are you unknowingly draining your savings? According to a recent study by the Employee Benefit Research Institute, nearly 40% of American households are at risk of running out of money in retirement. That's nearly 4 out of every 10 retirees who might face financial hardship in their golden years. But here's the thing. Most of these financial struggles aren't caused by market crashes or unexpected catastrophes. They're caused by preventable mistakes that retirees make with their own money. Simple oversights and misconceptions that can cost you tens of thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement. Today, we're going to reveal the 7 most common and costly money mistakes that retirees make, and more importantly, exactly how you can avoid them. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to make your retirement savings last as long as you do, maybe even longer. Welcome back to Graceful Years, where we help you navigate the financial side of retirement with confidence. I'm Isabella, and I've spent over 15 years helping retirees maximize their savings and minimize their financial stress. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We publish new retirement planning content every week. And if you stick around until the end of today's video, I'll share a free resource that breaks down exactly how much you should be spending in each category during retirement. Now, let's dive in and make sure your retirement years are everything you've dreamed of, financially secure and worry-free. Mistake number 1. Overspending in the first years of retirement. The first major mistake we see is what financial planners call retirement honeymoon syndrome. You've just retired, you're excited about your newfound freedom, and suddenly you're booking that dream cruise to Alaska, renovating the kitchen, buying a new car, and picking up expensive hobbies like golf or photography. The problem? This initial burst of spending can devastate your long-term financial security. Research shows that many retirees spend 20% more in their first 2 years of retirement compared to their final working years. That might not sound like much, but when you're living on a fixed income, every dollar counts. Let me give you a real example. Meet Sarah and Tom. Both retired with $800,000 in savings. Sarah decided to live it up in her first few years, withdrawing $50,000 annually. That's about 6.25% of her savings. Tom was more conservative, sticking to $32,000 per year, about 4% of his savings. After 20 years, assuming a 6% average return, Sarah's account would be completely depleted, while Tom would still have over $400,000 remaining. That's the power of controlling your withdrawal rate from day one. So what's the solution? Follow the 4% rule as a starting point. This means withdrawing no more than 4% of your retirement savings in your first year, then adjusting that amount for inflation each subsequent year. For someone with $500,000 saved, that's $20,000 in year 1. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I've been looking forward to retirement my whole life. I want to enjoy it. And you absolutely should. The key is to budget for those special experiences. Instead of spontaneous big purchases, plan them out. Maybe you take 1 major trip per year instead of 3. Maybe you renovate 1 room at a time instead of the whole house. Remember, retirement isn't a 2-year vacation. It's potentially a 20 to 30-year chapter of your life. Pace yourself accordingly. Mistake number 2. Not accounting for inflation. The second critical mistake is ignoring the silent wealth killer, inflation. I call it silent because it happens gradually, almost imperceptibly, but its cumulative effect is devastating. Here's a sobering reality. At just 3% annual inflation, which is close to the historical average, the purchasing power of your dollar is cut in half every 23 years. That means if you retire at 65, by the time you're 88, your dollar will only buy half of what it buys today. Let's look at some real numbers. In 2000, the average cost of a gallon of milk was $2.78. Today, it's around $4.20. A new car that cost $20,000 in 2000 would cost about $35,000 today for the same model. Healthcare costs have risen even faster. The average annual premium for family health insurance was $6,400 in 2000, and it's over $22,000 today. Now, imagine you're living comfortably on $4,000 per month today. With 3% inflation, you'll need $5,375 per month to maintain that same lifestyle in 10 years. If you're not planning for this, you'll either have to cut your expenses significantly or risk running out of money. This is especially dangerous for retirees on fixed incomes. Let's say you have a pension that pays $2,000 per month with no cost of living adjustments. In today's dollars, that's $2,000. But in 20 years, assuming 3% inflation, that $2,000 will have the purchasing power of just $1,100 in today's money. So how do you combat inflation? First, don't keep all your money in safe investments like CDs or savings accounts that pay less than the inflation rate. You're actually losing money in real terms. Second, maintain some exposure to assets that historically outpace inflation. This includes stocks, real estate investment trusts, REITs, and Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS. TIPS are particularly interesting because they're backed by the government and automatically adjust their principal value based on changes in the Consumer Price Index. Third, build inflation into your retirement budget from the beginning. Don't just plan for this year's expenses. Project what those expenses will look like in 5, 10, and 15 years. Finally, maintain flexibility in your spending. Have categories in your budget that can be reduced if needed, like entertainment or discretionary purchases. This gives you options when inflation inevitably pushes up your essential costs. Mistake number 3. Ignoring healthcare costs. Now let's talk about what might be the biggest financial shock awaiting new retirees: healthcare costs. According to Fidelity's latest estimates, the average retired couple will need approximately $315,000 to cover healthcare expenses throughout retirement. And that doesn't include long-term care. Here's where many retirees get caught off guard. They assume Medicare will cover everything, but Medicare has significant gaps. Traditional Medicare doesn't cover dental, vision, or hearing aids. It doesn't cover most long-term care services. And even for what it does cover, you're responsible for deductibles, co-payments, and co-insurance. Let me break down what Medicare doesn't fully cover. Medicare Part A has a deductible of $1,600 per benefit period for hospital stays. Part B has an annual deductible of $240, plus you pay 20% of most outpatient services with no annual cap. If you need a $100,000 surgery, you could be responsible for $20,000 out of pocket. Prescription drugs are another major expense. Even with Medicare Part D, many retirees find themselves in the donut hole, a coverage gap where you pay a higher percentage of drug costs. For expensive medications, this can mean thousands of dollars in annual out-of-pocket costs. But the biggest potential expense is long-term care. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, about 70% of people over 65 will need some form of long-term care services. The average cost of a private room in a nursing home is now over $108,000 per year. Even assisted living facilities average around $54,000 annually. Let me share a real example from one of my clients. John and Mary had saved $600,000 for retirement and thought they were set. Then Mary developed Alzheimer's disease at age 72. Between specialized care, home health services, and eventually a memory care facility, they spent $180,000 in just 3 years. Nearly a third of their entire retirement savings. So what can you do? First, understand your Medicare options thoroughly. Consider Medigap insurance, also called Medicare Supplement Insurance, which helps cover the gaps in traditional Medicare. These policies can significantly reduce your out-of-pocket costs. You might also consider Medicare Advantage plans, which often include prescription drug coverage and sometimes dental and vision benefits. However, these plans typically have network restrictions, so make sure your doctors participate. If you're still working and have access to a high-deductible health plan with a health savings account, maximize your HSA contributions. HSAs offer triple tax benefits: deductible contributions, tax-free growth, and tax-free withdrawals for qualified medical expenses. After age 65, you can withdraw money for any purpose penalty-free, though you'll pay income tax on non-medical withdrawals. For long-term care, consider your options while you're still healthy. Traditional long-term care insurance can be expensive and has strict underwriting requirements. Hybrid life insurance policies with long-term care riders might be more attractive because they provide value whether or not you need long-term care. Finally, budget specifically for healthcare costs. A good rule of thumb is to plan for healthcare expenses to consume 10 to 15% of your retirement income, but this can vary significantly based on your health status and family history. And don't forget, the best way to control healthcare costs is to stay as healthy as possible. Regular exercise, proper nutrition, preventive care, and managing chronic conditions can significantly reduce your long-term healthcare expenses. Mistake number 4. Keeping too much in cash. The fourth major mistake is keeping too much money in cash or cash-equivalent investments. Now, I understand the appeal. After decades of watching your 401k fluctuate with the stock market, having money in a safe savings account feels comforting. But this safety is actually an illusion. Here's the harsh reality. When your money is sitting in savings accounts earning 0.5% while inflation is running at 3%, you're losing 2.5% of your purchasing power every single year. It might feel safe, but you're actually going backwards financially. Let me show you the long-term impact. From 1926 to 2020, the stock market averaged about 10% annual returns, bonds averaged about 5.3%, and cash barely kept up with inflation at around 3.3%. If you retired 20 years ago with $500,000 and kept it all in cash earning 1%, you'd have about $610,000 today. But that money would only have the purchasing power of about $370,000 in today's dollars. Compare that to a balanced portfolio of 60% stocks and 40% bonds, which would have grown to approximately $1.6 million over the same period, even accounting for market volatility and several major downturns. Now, I'm not suggesting you put all your money in the stock market. That would be reckless at any age, but especially in retirement. The key is finding the right balance. A common rule of thumb is to subtract your age from 110 to determine your stock allocation. So a 70-year-old might hold 40% stocks and 60% bonds. Here's what I recommend. Keep 6 to 12 months of expenses in truly safe, liquid investments, high-yield savings accounts, money market funds, or short-term CDs. This is your emergency fund and should be readily accessible. But beyond that, your money needs to work harder for you. For the conservative portion of your portfolio, consider Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS, which adjust with inflation. High-quality corporate bonds and municipal bonds can also provide steady income with slightly higher yields than savings accounts. For the growth portion, focus on dividend-paying stocks from established companies. These can provide both income and potential appreciation. Utility companies, consumer staples, and REITs often offer attractive dividend yields while being less volatile than growth stocks. If managing a diversified portfolio seems overwhelming, consider target date funds or balanced funds designed for retirees. These funds automatically adjust their allocation to become more conservative as you age, and they're professionally managed. If you currently have too much in cash and are nervous about investing it all at once, consider dollar cost averaging. Invest a fixed amount each month over 6 to 12 months. This reduces the risk of investing everything at a market peak. Remember, in retirement, you face two risks: the risk of market volatility and the risk of outliving your money. Being too conservative might protect you from the first risk, but it significantly increases the second risk. The goal is finding the right balance for your situation. Mistake number 5. Claiming Social Security too early. The fifth costly mistake is claiming Social Security benefits too early. This decision can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Yet many retirees make it without fully understanding the implications. Here's how Social Security works. You can start claiming benefits as early as age 62, but your full retirement age depends on when you were born. For most current retirees, full retirement age is between 66 and 67. If you wait until age 70, you get delayed retirement credits that significantly boost your monthly benefit. Let me show you the numbers. Let's say your full retirement benefit at age 67 is $2,000 per month. If you claim at age 62, you'll get about $1,400 per month, a 30% reduction that lasts for life. But if you wait until age 70, you'll get about $2,480 per month, a 24% increase. Now let's look at the lifetime impact. If you live to age 85, claiming at 62 would give you $386,400 in total benefits, $1,400 times 12 months times 23 years. Waiting until age 70 would give you $446,400, $2,480 times 12 months times 15 years. That's $60,000 more, despite collecting for 8 fewer years. But here's where it gets really interesting. The break-even point occurs around age 80. If you live beyond age 80, waiting to claim benefits at 70 becomes increasingly valuable. And remember, life expectancy continues to increase. A healthy 65-year-old today has about a 50% chance of living to age 85 or beyond. The benefits of delaying are even greater when you consider spousal benefits. The higher-earning spouse's benefit amount affects both their own lifetime benefits and the survivor benefit for the lower-earning spouse. If the higher earner delays claiming, it can provide significantly more financial security for the surviving spouse. Let me share a real example. Robert and Linda were both 62 when Robert lost his job. They were considering claiming Social Security immediately because they needed the income. Instead, we helped them use their savings and Robert's severance package to bridge the gap until he found part-time work. By waiting until their full retirement ages to claim, they increased their combined lifetime Social Security benefits by over $200,000. Now, there are situations where claiming early might make sense. If you have serious health issues and don't expect to live much beyond age 75, claiming early could be the right choice. If you desperately need the income and have no other options, claiming early is better than going into debt. But before claiming early, explore all your options. Can you work part-time to bridge the gap? Can you withdraw from other retirement accounts temporarily? Can you reduce expenses? Remember, every year you delay claiming up to age 70 increases your benefit by about 8%. That's guaranteed return you won't find anywhere else. There are also tax considerations. Social Security benefits may be taxable depending on your other income. Sometimes, it makes sense to withdraw from tax-deferred accounts early to keep your income low in later years when you're collecting Social Security. This is one area where professional advice can be incredibly valuable. The Social Security claiming decision involves complex interactions between your benefits, your spouse's benefits, taxes, and your overall retirement strategy. A qualified financial planner can run scenarios to show you the optimal claiming strategy for your specific situation. Mistake number 6. Failing to downsize or reduce expenses. The sixth major mistake is failing to right-size your expenses for retirement. Many retirees cling to the same lifestyle and expenses they had during their peak earning years, even though their income has typically decreased significantly. The biggest culprit is usually housing. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, housing accounts for about 35% of retiree spending. That's mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and utilities. For many retirees, this represents their single largest expense. Here's a common scenario. John and Sue raised 3 kids in a 3,500 square foot home with a large yard. The kids have been gone for 10 years, but they're still living in and maintaining this large house. Their annual housing costs include $8,000 in property taxes, $3,000 in insurance, $4,000 in utilities, plus ongoing maintenance and repairs that average $5,000 per year. That's $20,000 annually just in carrying costs. Now imagine they downsize to a 1,800 square foot home or a nice condominium. Their property taxes might drop to $4,000, insurance to $1,500, utilities to $2,500, and maintenance costs might be minimal or covered by HOA fees. They could potentially save $12,000 per year while also freeing up equity from their larger home. Speaking of equity, many retirees are house-rich but cash-poor. If John and Sue's large home is worth $400,000 and they owe $100,000 on the mortgage, they have $300,000 in equity. If they downsize to a $250,000 home, they could pay it off completely and have $50,000 left over to add to their retirement savings. I understand that downsizing isn't just a financial decision. It's emotional too. That house holds memories, represents achievement, and provides a sense of security. But consider this. Is holding on to those memories worth potentially compromising your financial security? Downsizing doesn't necessarily mean moving to a tiny apartment. You might move to a smaller home in the same neighborhood, or a similar-sized home in an area with lower taxes and cost of living. You might consider a 55-plus community that offers maintenance-free living and social opportunities. Housing isn't the only area where retirees can reduce expenses. Look at your car situation. Do you really need 2 cars when you're both retired? Can you get by with one reliable paid-off vehicle instead of having car payments? Audit your recurring expenses. Do you still need that premium cable package, multiple streaming services, the family cell phone plan, or the country club membership you rarely use? These seemingly small expenses can add up to thousands of dollars per year. Consider geographic arbitrage. Moving to an area with a lower cost of living. Your Social Security and retirement account dollars will stretch further in many parts of the country compared to high-cost areas like New York or San Francisco. The best time to downsize is usually early in retirement when you're still healthy and energetic enough to handle the logistics of moving. Don't wait until health issues or other circumstances force you to make rushed decisions. Consider working with professionals who specialize in helping seniors downsize. They can help you price your home correctly, find suitable new housing, and manage the emotional and logistical challenges of the process. Mistake number 7. Not seeking professional financial advice. The 7th and potentially most costly mistake is trying to navigate retirement planning alone. Retirement financial planning is more complex than ever, with numerous account types, tax implications, Social Security strategies, healthcare considerations, and investment options. Yet many retirees attempt to manage everything themselves. Let me illustrate this complexity. In retirement, you need to coordinate withdrawals from multiple account types. Traditional 401ks and IRAs, Roth accounts, taxable investment accounts, HSAs, and potentially pension payments and Social Security benefits. Each has different tax implications and required minimum distribution rules. For example, the order in which you withdraw money from different accounts can have a huge impact on your tax bill and how long your money lasts. Generally, you want to use taxable accounts first, then tax-deferred accounts, and Roth accounts last. But there are exceptions. Sometimes it makes sense to do Roth conversions in low-income years to manage future tax brackets. Beyond the technical complexity, there's the emotional component. Retirement transitions can be stressful, and stress leads to poor financial decisions. I've seen retirees panic during market downturns and sell investments at the worst possible time. I've seen others make major financial decisions based on fear, greed, or something they heard from a friend. Let me share a success story. When Patricia came to me, she had $750,000 in retirement savings but was terrified of running out of money. She was keeping 80% of her money in CDs, earning 1% because she was afraid of market volatility. Through proper planning, we created a diversified portfolio that provided her with steady income while still allowing for growth. 5 years later, despite withdrawing money for living expenses, her account had grown to over $900,000. Now, not all financial advisors are created equal. Look for fee-only advisors who are fiduciaries, meaning they're legally required to act in your best interests. Avoid advisors who earn commissions from selling products, as this creates conflicts of interest. Look for advisors with relevant credentials like CFP, Certified Financial Planner, CHFC, Chartered Financial Consultant, or specializations in retirement planning. Make sure they have experience working with retirees and understand the unique challenges of retirement income planning. When interviewing advisors, ask about their fee structure, their investment philosophy, how often you'll meet, and how they'll communicate with you. Ask for references from other retirees they've worked with. A good advisor should be happy to answer all these questions transparently. A qualified advisor can help you with tax-efficient withdrawal strategies, Social Security optimization, estate planning, long-term care planning, and investment management. They can also provide valuable emotional support during market volatility and help you stay disciplined with your long-term strategy. Studies consistently show that investors who work with qualified financial advisors achieve better long-term results than those who go it alone. According to a study by Vanguard, advisor-assisted investors can expect to earn about 3% more annually through better asset allocation, cost management, and behavioral coaching. You don't necessarily need an advisor if you have simple financial needs, enjoy managing investments, and have the time and knowledge to do it properly. But if you have substantial assets, complex situations, or simply want professional guidance and peace of mind, working with a qualified advisor can be one of the best investments you make. Let's quickly recap the 7 critical mistakes we've covered today. 1. Overspending in the early years of retirement. 2. Not accounting for inflation's impact on your purchasing power. 3. Underestimating healthcare costs and Medicare gaps. 4. Keeping too much money in low-yielding cash accounts. 5. Claiming Social Security benefits too early. 6. Failing to downsize or reduce expenses appropriately. 7. Trying to manage complex retirement planning without professional help. The good news is that every single one of these mistakes is completely avoidable. By being aware of these common pitfalls and taking action to address them, you can significantly improve your chances of having a financially secure and enjoyable retirement. Remember, retirement planning isn't just about accumulating money. It's about making that money last throughout your retirement years while maintaining the lifestyle you want. Start by honestly assessing your current situation against these 7 areas. Where might you be vulnerable? If this video has been helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more practical retirement planning advice. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our weekly videos. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these mistakes resonates most with your situation? Are there other retirement money challenges you'd like me to address in future videos? And if you want to dive deeper, check out our playlist on retirement income strategies, where we cover specific tactics for making your money last throughout retirement. Remember, your retirement years should be some of the most rewarding and worry-free of your life. By avoiding these common money mistakes, you're taking control of your financial future and setting yourself up for the retirement you've always dreamed of. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.